How would you like a suspenseful cop mystery about a killer so terrifying he can only be described as the modern-day Jack the Ripper? Get your hands on Crime Scene Confidential, the slasher, available on Amazon Kindle for only 99 cents. It's just the beginning of a twist-and-turn-filled novella series following Stevens through the world of dark crime. Get your copy today and find out who done it.
Oh, sorry. Couldn't help it. So, yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Ollie Oxenfree, and we are going to be talking about, well, believe it or not, archaeologist Fred Flintstein actually discovered some primitive musical instruments plus some deposits of fossilized stool. You heard me right.
Really old poop, huh?
Really old poop. And when asked what the stool could be, Flintstein replied, a dabba poop. No?
I don't know this guy.
She can't point the right direction.
I don't know him. No.
It was enough to make everybody turn off. We had all these little viewers, and all of a sudden went, oh, well. So if you guys are just tuning in, yeah, you're watching Paranormal right here on TMV Cafe's YouTube page. And I just realized, I don't think I programmed the station tonight.
What does that mean?
That means anyone that's listening to TMV Cafe is probably listening to nothing but music at the moment.
Oh.
There's nothing wrong with that because we love playing the music for the people. But, yeah.
Well, right before we went on, I got the phone rang. Of course, I picked it up. And it was a gentleman from the Maryland FOP, for the Policemen's Union, wanting money. So I told him to tune in tonight. So hopefully, if that's the guy, hi.
Right?
No, I will be sending the check.
He probably heard about the Adaba Poo and said, bye.
Yeah. He seemed like a very nice man.
Yeah. We got a lot of good viewers from around the world. So all of you, my hat's off to you. And thank you for tuning in. And if you haven't noticed, I am sporting the college colors tonight.
Which is what?
Grand Canyon University, which they are doing very well in the baseball arena right now.
Is that who you teach for?
No, that's who I actually study with. Oh. I got my master's with them. I'm working on my PhD with them now.
So I have to call you Dr. EW?
One day in the future.
Okay, it would be my pleasure.
Yeah.
Speaking of doctors, have you heard from Pam how she's doing?
She did have her surgery. The word that I got from her husband is everything went well, and that I know she has to keep it elevated for so long, and then I don't remember the rest. So hopefully, I did invite her, but I haven't gotten word back from her. So I don't know if medication is keeping her down tonight. But yeah, and thank you, Evie. Plenty of prayers for her and others.
Oh, definitely. My bud.
Yeah.
And hi, Sarah. How you doing?
So, but we got an interesting show for you tonight. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes life gets in the way and it slows us down and we can't put together a plan, right?
Oh, well, last week was the pits.
Well,
I got my pneumonia shot and my flu shot the same day. Big mistake.
Yeah, well, it wasn't just that. I also was sick, and a mentor of mine passed away. So
I'm sorry to hear that.
from COVID, believe it or not. So it was really hard trying to pull yourself together amongst all that, and being sick did not help any.
And we apologize for not being here last week.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I couldn't drag. It was so bad. I felt like crap. I didn't have any COVID symptoms. All I had was this fever, but man, it was holding me down so bad that I couldn't even get out of bed.
Mm.
Now, what in the world could that be? The only thing they contested it to was probably that of the beginning flu or something.
Ew.
Well, let's hope it was, because now I will have antibodies in my system, and woohoo, this will be a flu-free year. If not, well, one flew out the window. Anywho. So, yeah. Did you know, I don't know if you see, I put these up on my Facebook page every now and then, but I did today's as scientists actually uncovered that 9 out of 10 Americans believe out of the 10 people, 1 will disagree with the other 9. Think on that. Okay.
I'm still not with this guy.
Yes.
Whatever.
The one that's over
you need
there.
to switch us around. That's what you need to do.
So, you know what? That reminds me. Evie, did you get your mug? I know we sent them out. We never got anything back, but we don't even get confirmation whether the people get them or not. So I was hoping one day you would do a picture with your new mug. And I know there's a delay, so she'll respond in there. About this time, what? Well, I will look into it as best as I can. It's so far out now that I know we're not going to get refunded, but if I have to remake them, I'll remake them for you. I'll answer that later. Anywho, so what I was saying earlier is when sometimes we have to last minute come up with a show idea. And when you do, sometimes we get these home run of show ideas, and then sometimes, well, it turns into just a fun blooper time. Tonight we were working on an idea before the show of something called mind over matter. Now, let me give you an idea of some of the ideas how a lot of people see mind over matter today. Just a few. This doesn't mean that's the total direction we're going. But in the business industry, which is something I specialize in, people tend to use mind over matter as a way to succeed in their business. Others in the medical industry would consider mind over matter as a way of healing. Now, great example, when there's, and Annie, I'm sure you've heard of these, when they do the tests for people that, I'll put that up in a second. When we talk about people who go to blind studies for medicines or something, so one group gets a placebo, another group gets the actual medicine. Neither group knows which one they're getting, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people, double blind usually. Some of the people that get the placebo, believe it or not, actually show results as if they had taken the actual medication. Why is this? Science has actually given it a mind over matter conclusion. Now, I'll be honest. I've heard people make jokes about mind over matter. If you don't mind, it don't matter. But, it's one of those things where it does matter to us, because if something's important enough, we're going to, especially in the paranormal field, we're going to investigate. We want to know the answers. So Evie put earlier, sorry, I had to scroll back up, wishcraft, perception versus reality. This is kind of a right along the topic, because in a business field, some great businessmen out there have actually told people to make what they call a vision board or a wish board. I remember working with some sales groups that would actually tell you to take and cut out, like if you have a dream car, you cut that car out, you put it on your refrigerator, and you look at it every day and claim you're going to have that car.
I did that one time with an Excalibur, and it never happened, and that was 35 years ago.
Excalibur, the sword?
No, the car.
Oh, okay, because I was going to say one of those isn't real.
No, I won an Excalibur car. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw one at a wedding one time and absolutely fell in love with it.
See, now I know, okay, some of the guys that I talk to or I know that make motivational speeches, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, definitely the sword, but no, I want the car.
And some of the guys that I know make motivational speeches and stuff, or even talk to business folks, would tell you never give up, dream big. I'm the type of person that tries to be more realistic, because the higher we dream, the harder it might be to achieve that goal. And then the sooner we start to, because we're not seeing it happen. We're not putting a timeline on it either.
Okay, so the Excalibur is great, but I'll take a 1954 Ford pickup truck.
Ooh, okay, now that's possible.
That's possible.
That's very possible. See, like, I seriously want, if I'm going to go with a classic car again, I want a 32 Ford Coupe.
Ooh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I want. 32 Ford Coupe is one of the most beautiful vehicles out there. A lot of people might know it from music videos.
And speed bike. I would like to have a regular bike, no speeds. Remember back in the day when all you had was the brakes was your back pedal? You go,
oh, yeah. Well, I loved
nothing.
I loved when those brakes would go out and your brakes became your feet. It's like, stop.
Yeah.
That was what my brakes became after a while.
I want simple stuff, just simple stuff.
Yeah. So my dream car, that.
Ooh, nice color too.
Yes. 32
my 1954 Ford truck's going to be red.
Yeah. Well, does this car look familiar to you?
No.
Did you ever watch any of the ZZ Top videos?
Yeah, actually.
This is the same model car they use in their videos. Now, it is, as she mentioned, it is different because they use a 34 model. This is the 32. The difference between the two is in the back portion here, it's a little more curved than lifted like this. So that is one different. But still love this car. This is like my dream car. And the thing is I haven't shot for the moon on this. Because, I guess I'm just not, Model T. You know what? I have an uncle who had a Model T. Loved that.
Well, I promise you here and now, if I ever hit the lottery, and everybody can hear this, I will find one and get you one.
There you go. There you go.
For your lamps.
Oh, yeah, you're going to have a fight with somebody on that. I ain't saying nothing. You're going to have a fight with somebody on that. But I think if I were to show off both of our vehicles right next to each other.
Oh, that was cool. Like, okay, that makes me happy. Okay, drink.
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 She said drink. Okay, let me open it up. Drink. Kidney stone. Yeah, beautiful paint jobs on those too.
That is lovely.
I love when people restore vehicles because they really give some.
I wish I could learn how to do that. You know, my mother was dead set against girls learning mechanical stuff. Girls don't do that. They don't get their hands dirty.
Yeah, I could probably show you that's not a true fact.
I don't care. I'd like to learn how to fix things and build things and stuff. So.
Well, if you haven't noticed, tonight we prove it. The humans are an uneasily distracted species. Now, this is according to science. If you don't believe it, just look at everyone around you on a smartphone right now.
Do you know what? You are so true. We went to the doctors for Tom the other day. And I'm actually reading a paperback book. Everybody else is on their phone going, yep.
The most annoying thing I'd ever seen, we went to a restaurant once. This is, of course, before the pandemic. And while we're at the restaurant, I noticed it was quiet. Normally we go to restaurants that they're loud, the people are talking to each other, and it's just really noisy. But this time, it was quiet. And I said, well, what's going on? And so I started to look around. And as I'm looking around, all I see is this. People on their phones. That wasn't the part that annoyed me. The part that annoyed me was, ding. You're right next to each other, fool. Show them. They were texting to each other at the table.
I'm trying to see where my phone is. I don't know where my phone is, to tell you the truth. Oh. I don't really care.
So there's a book out there by Bhagavata Gita, I hope I say that right, that makes a comment in the book that it says, referring to the mind, is as difficult to control as the wind. So the mind is as difficult to control as the wind. That kind of makes sense, because how many times have you gone to bed and you can't sleep because your mind is running wild?
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotten worse as I gotten older because it's like a pinball machine.
Yep.
Bing, 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 bing.
And it doesn't stop. Yeah.
I can't shut down.
Well, in 25 years since, this conversation with, of course, the guy who wrote the book and others, the 2,500, okay, that's a lot of years. Physiological science has figured out quite a bit about controlling the mind. They've come up with ways through studies at colleges, universities, and we still know there's ways to control people's attention spans. But put a child in front of a TV and you put it on a show, they don't sit through the whole show. They'll probably sit through 5 minutes before they start getting antsy. Put us in front of in a theater, in about 30 minutes, we want to start moving around. Because we're typically used to different things where, oh, we need to get up, we need to move, we need to do this, we need to do that. We have so much stuff that constantly happens. How many times have you streamed something at your house that you've actually had to pause because, oh, I'm going to the kitchen. Oh, now I need to go check the laundry. Oh, now I need to go do this. Annie?
A lot.
See?
God love that pause button.
Yeah. I mean, but it's true. People do this. This means our attention spans aren't as great as we might have been at one time. All right? We can even recognize how insights might help relieve mental illness as they, as scientists continue to study. And they say, make sure he's not a doctor. He's not. But Michael Posner, I hope I say that right, said that there are many, many attractive projects in psychology these days. He says, I believe among them will be the effort to understand attention in a way which can improve the human condition. So,
what?
He says there are many. Wait, are you playing with me? Okay. But
Gotcha.
yeah, you did. But they're talking about, right off the bat, talking about the mind. So when we get into a mind over matter situation, in a lot of cases, they say you really have to focus. You really have to have your brain working on that focus. So if we don't have the attention spans now, by what science is saying, how do we know what our minds can and cannot do?
I guess we could do anything we put our mind to.
Well, this is a very true statement. Yeah. It's a very, very true statement. You can do anything you put your mind to. So let me ask a question. You posed the question earlier. Telekinesis.
Yeah.
Okay. In telekinesis, this means you have to focus. And there has been studies that have shown people to move objects with their mind. Not a great deal, but a good little portion. And science cannot explain it.
Yeah, but we can all be taught to do that. But I guess there's so much junk in your head that you can't.
Junk.
Junk. Thoughts, ideas, memories, things, have to do, want to do.
Sorry, I was moving the junk.
Junk. Head junk. Brain junk.
Brain junk.
Brain junk, yeah.
So what do we think? Do we think that a person can actually focus long enough to make something happen?
I don't know. Okay, for example, how about the Matrix? When Neo's in there with that little kid in the spoon.
Why couldn't he move? Why couldn't he?
Spoon.
Yeah, but he couldn't understand that concept because the thing is people see an object, they see it being held, but that's as far as they could go, right?
Right.
Okay, so we see the object, we know that the object can do stuff, and then we say, can it honestly be moved? Can that object be taken into another dimension? Can it, because it's a solid, right?
Right.
And solids cannot be moved. No matter what we do, a solid cannot be moved.
Or can they?
Or can they?
Oh, you.
So,
way to go, EW. That's fantastic.
So as we talk about something like that, we think about the concept of where he says, think there is no spoon.
Right.
Because if there was a spoon, then the concept of it being a solid would not allow it to be moved. Like ice is a solid, is it not?
In its frozen form, but it's
Well,
also water.
it's water in a frozen
It's liquid,
form.
and
Right.
it's also solid.
Right. So we might not be able to take an object and actually bend. Gosh, I didn't realize how hard those were. Be able to bend them or do something to them. But we might be able to do enough of tricks to make them just vanish away or appear and reappear, because we know that it's a play on the mind. It messes with our mind. Right?
Right.
I
Okay.
mean,
We take the other thing with the mind with the matrixing.
Well,
Not Keanu. Okay, we're not.
Well,
talking
no.
Keanu.
But see, when you say
Talking about this
matrixing,
picture.
I think of what our eyes can.
That's what I'm talking about. I didn't mean Keanu.
Okay. That's what I thought. So our minds can play tricks on us. They can do multiple things. You know, for example, we can see what color is this ball.
It's red.
Right. Now, if you're colorblind, it might be yellow or brown. Right?
I guess.
See, perception. Perception will tell how somebody does it, like if they matrix it. Okay? So we know that perception tells us so much. Does perception tell us what? That a ball could disappear?
Oh, here he goes again.
No. I'm just using this as an example. Does perception tell us that because I made a coin disappear, I can make a ball disappear, right?
Yes.
But the perception tells us that the ball was bigger than the coin, so is that possible? Maybe it would be possible.
It probably wasn't bigger than the coin. It was probably the same size but different color.
Oh, that could be a good point too. Never did show a size together. So, but our mind says, well, let's look at improbabilities, things that he couldn't do. Like, could he multiply the balls? No way. Nobody could do that. Yeah, I have one ball, I put it in there, that's what I do. Mind over matter tells us if we do these things, we can practice, and we can do something that seems really impossible. For example, multiplying the balls. Okay? Now,
Are they really balls or are they?
Yeah, they're real. You can see. They're real.
Oh my gosh. Can you juggle too?
No, God, no. If you want to see a real mess, watch me try to juggle. But the point is when we look at a perception, and as I put them on top of each other, you can see that they basically tell us it's not really possible to do something like that. So, now here's a great way to look at perception and where matrixing does mess with our minds. Okay? If I take the balls and put them straight like this, how many balls do you see?
One.
So if I did something like this and then went like this, now I know I turned it to the last one so you can see what I was doing, but you can see how
Actually, okay, never mind. I don't want to know your tricks.
Oh, I ain't gonna tell you my tricks. A magician never reveals his answers.
Exactly.
But the point of the matter is what somebody sees might be an answer from their point of view. This is why when I hear science talk about something like mind over matter, I sometimes just want to get frustrated and say, no, that's not the way it is. Okay? Yes, I agree. Today, people's attention spans are, we don't have them. Okay? But if you want to focus on something, like I said, learning a magic trick, it would take you practicing and trying. Well, that's where you put your mind into that. because you want to succeed at that trick.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're going to practice, and you're focused. Okay, so what we'll do is we're going to go to our break part here for a moment, which, you know, for those who don't know, it's our fight or flight moment. This is where, would we stay around or would we want to investigate a bit more? Okay. I will post the video link after the show, but I want you guys to kind of check this out because this was sent in and asked, do we think this is real? Now, this kind of fits in with our question of mind over matter. So check this out. So he is following his dog. He's playing with his dog in the woods, and you see the snow, and obviously hear him talking to his dog. And as he's walking around, I'm going to stop right there. This girl is floating in midair. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Okay. He moves his camera, and now the girl's on the ground, and they run away. All right. Fight or flight?
I'm not going to fight anybody, and I'm not going to run away. It was just kind of cool.
It is, but the question is, this is one of those ones where when you get these videos, they're grainy, they're hard to really determine what the heck's going on. And it leaves you to the question of what was holding the little girl up? Yeah, see, Evie says she'd stay. I'd stay too, but I would try to catch the people like, hey, get back over here. What in the world? You know?
Can I do it too?
Yeah, right? It looks fun. I want to be a part of that. So they go back. Let's see. Let's go back to the stream for a moment. And he slows it down more, like a frame by frame. And as we're looking at this, at first I saw some white, but look like branches, and they move around a lot. And I think it's more with the camera. So I couldn't see anything literally holding this girl up. Except for, you see this starts moving, and I see blurriness right here.
Maybe somebody just threw her up in the air and she's a gymnastics person and, you know, doing flips.
Or, I had a thought. Have you ever heard of a dust devil?
Yeah.
Okay. I was wondering if this could have been, that's the end of that video too. I was wondering if that could have been just one of those perfect opportunities that they could take advantage of maybe the girl being caught in a dust devil.
Could be.
Would a dust devil have enough power to hold maybe a girl in the air like that?
Maybe for a few seconds.
Yeah. And Evie's right. I have to admit this. This is probably the most truthful comment ever. We should be over grainy videos by now. I mean, Apple's coming out with a brand new phone that is going to have supposedly the best camera ever. Android has these great phones with the really, really good high-quality cameras. I mean, Samsung has them. So there's a lot. Yeah, okay. As far as the... so she says that you should have more disturbance in the area, and that's referring to the... I didn't even notice that, Evie. Good point. So she's referring to, like, when you see a dust devil, it does kick up a lot of dust, creates a tornado.
Right, I've seen that.
But something she pointed out that I wasn't paying attention to was the fact that the other woman's hair is still and pristine. In other words, it's not blowing around. So it's definitely not wind. But when you look at one part of the video, you can actually see something is like this big line moving back and forth. And let me see, I'm going to back it up again. And I want to show that because that's the one thing I cannot figure out. Let's go ahead and, let's get that off there. Let's make this bigger so we can get a closer look at it. And as he comes up with the camera, watch the background over here. So we're not frame by frame, and you can see this white thing that's moving. You see that?
Right.
That's what bothers me. What the heck is that?
Mm.
Because then it comes back towards the end of the video. You see it starting to come back, and then the video ends.
Okay, go back to the beginning. I want to see what is that date at the bottom? Do you can see the dates?
Oh, well, I have a listing at the bottom of February 12th or February 20th, 2011.
Okay, so the phones weren't that great back then.
Yeah, but let's go to something else.
10 years ago.
This has 3.5 million views. 3.5 million views tells me there's people trying to figure this out. And I'm still at one of those points, that makes me wonder. Okay, I'm looking at the comments. In one of the comments, somebody says, 6 years ago they said this, I'm sure it's already been proven by someone, but this is fake. I do keep an open mind, and supernatural stuff does interest me, but there are 2 reasons I believe this is fake. Number 1, in most shows or video or whatever with something paranormal, animals are, I guess that's supposed to be animals, are supposed to be sensitive to them. Here, all the dog did was wonder and ran to the source of it, where the 2 girls were, but usually they would react by either barking, whining, growling, or something else. Number 2, this person says that it's kind of obvious is where the dog does bark. The man holding the camera just happened to look down, and then looking back up at the girl is no longer floating. In this setting, it shows that the dog is probably familiar with all who was in the video and might have been trained to bark on command. Also, when you see the dog taken off, the dog is running in the direction of the 2 girls, but he doesn't reach them. That might show that more people than the 2 girls and the guy holding the camera are involved. So in other words, he's thinking there's more people involved. I don't know. Again, this is just one of those ones that the camera was not clear enough. It could be a situation of whatever. So whatever you guys think, comment down below. We'll put the link to the video and YouTube page after it's posted. But since we're live right now, we won't do that. So earlier, Evie mentioned something very good. And I'm having to scroll back up to it. She said something about nature versus nature or something like that. And I'm having to scroll all the way up to see if I can find it. Oh, perception versus reality. My apologies. Okay, well, let's look at something along the idea of mind over matter, as in nature versus nature, which has become a debate recently at Stanford University, where they find that just thinking you're prone to a given outcome might trump both nature and nature.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Just thinking you're prone to a given outcome, meaning you can gain that given outcome, might trump nature versus nature. Okay? So, in some studies, believe it or not, they say mind over matter may actually work when it comes to health. You got to sit back, shake your head. What? Yes. It might work when it comes to health. Doctors have actually started seeing this in quite a few studies that state that if you believe enough, you pretty much can overcome your health issues. Great example. Have you ever worked in a business office and somebody's like, oh, I'm not feeling good, I'm sick. And they continue doing this through the rest of the day and they get worse and worse and worse, right? Mind over matter. They're speaking themselves into being sicker.
Or you could look at somebody and say, my God, you look like hell today. Are you feeling okay? And they might the same thing later and later, and all that they get.
And eventually it gets beat into their head, and they start to say, "Yeah, I don't feel good."
Hypochondriacs.
Yeah. Oh, that's like the top of the list when it comes to any of that. When you talk about people who, well, let's say people who work out. And while they're working out, their whole goal is to lose weight and, maybe gain some muscle. And they're, I'm gonna look all buff and when you're doing it, you pay attention to some of these people who do that. They really get into each other's head. Oh yeah, come on, you could do it. You got this. One more. One more, you could do it, one more. And this is what they're telling each other. They're buffing each other up. They're getting in each other's head. It becomes a mind over matter situation. So we go back to the same concept. If we can use that there in the paranormal field, we look at things like, well, one we were talking about pre-show was even poltergeist.
Right, poltergeist psychokinesis.
Yeah. Well, who set the rule that poltergeist only goes after children? Who set that rule?
Got me. Usually they say that the poltergeist starts when you have a child that's hitting puberty or something like that, and their hormones and emotions are all over the place.
Yeah, but I mean, if that's the case, oh my God, this world would be so possessed with poltergeist, it's not even funny.
Exactly.
And I mean, because good God, go to a school. There's so many hormones running wild in those schools now. It's like, oh my God, really? So, well, and Evie makes a good, excuse me, I don't know where that came from. Evie makes a good point. Children are more mentally open to the fact that we actually have to keep telling the children over such a long period of time, there's no such thing as ghosts. There's no such thing as monsters. And then as they become adults, what do they repeat?
The same thing.
Yeah. So then when you start to talk about paranormal, okay. It's not poltergeist. It's just teenagers. The idea here, whatever we conclude tonight, we're not going to say this is the exact answer. It'd be unfair to actually say that without getting into a deeper study on the subject. And trust me, right now, most of the studies I have do come from quite a few places, mostly medical journals right now. But I have also uncovered it through Forbes, and a couple of other business areas. I did get a lot through spiritual, such as churches and so forth, to add into that. So, I mean, I could really go a long ways with mind over matter and how it actually helps or hurts. So for us to come up with a conclusion tonight, I think it would be unfair to the viewers, because, again, where science hasn't come up with answers, other people might have. Can they reproduce those? That's the question. See, because we know in the telekinesis studies, as we said, people have supposedly moved objects with their mind.
Well, look at Carrie, the movie Carrie, or Stephen King's book Carrie. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't puberty or something. She was doing that when she was a little kid.
Right.
So I'm sure that there is a reasonable explanation. The brain is so complex. They had no idea of how things work.
Well, I mean, there is a such thing as karma, yes. The one thing that I would go really heavy on with an answer into that is that I do believe in the theory of what goes around comes around. You can bring stuff on yourself. If you're a jerk to everyone else, eventually everybody's going to be a jerk to you. I totally believe in that. Is that a mind over matter situation? I would not say that. Because let's use a great example, not the Christmas story, A Christmas Carol. A Christmas Carol. In the story itself, in the end, Scrooge changes his ways. People have changed from being a jerk to being a nice person, and in return, people return in kind to him as those individuals are being kind. The others around them will do that. Go around a bunch of people who are cheerful and happy, and even if you're having a crappy day, the cheerful people and the happy people will actually change your mood.
Yep.
So the mind, no matter what you go with, no matter what field you're in, no matter what you do, our minds are still something we have yet to unlock. Great example. A gentleman lost a third of his brain. They had to do a surgery to remove cancer. They told the family he's not going to remember much of anything. You're going to have to reintroduce yourselves, redo things to remind him who you are, and so forth, because it was going to be almost total amnesia. A third of his brain, okay? That's a big chunk of brain. What ended up happening was the brain somehow remapped itself, and he never lost any memory.
That's amazing. You and I, we both have had strokes.
Yep.
And at that one time, with your hands, and you had to learn how to touch each finger, and I couldn't do it. I mean, it got to the point I could never do my pinky finger, and eventually, but because your brain is so complex and whatever, it does rewire what you can do.
Except for I did lose all my memory.
Well, I forget a lot of things too, and I have aphasia. I can't read things right.
Who are you again?
See, I can't pronounce it either. Aphasia?
Well,
look, you can look it up.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it's typical in a lot of stroke patients. They're going to have different types of side effects. But some of the most common would be facial paralysis, body paralysis, or memory loss, depending on the side of the brain that the stroke is actually based off of.
Right.
I did learn that much. Some parts aphasia.
That's it.
Some parts actually some people can actually gain features back. One of mine, which was amazing, was during the first stroke, my whole left side of my face was drooped. That was it. I still have weakness in my whole left side, but not in my face.
Yeah, that's the same way with me. So I guess it was what, on the right side?
Yeah, they said it was a right side stroke.
My left hand doesn't work as well.
Right.
Anymore.
But what was crazy was the second stroke put it all back.
Yeah.
Even the doctors are like, we've never seen anything like this before.
You are unique, dear.
I'm just me. I'm just, yeah. Anywho, but this shows that the brain is an unknown field. It would be its own paranormal journey, no matter what. It would take me to another subject, which I was hoping our guest would be with us tonight, but she's actually on the road driving, so I didn't want her to get into an accident on the air.
Oh, no.
So, and yes, Evie, I go with that one. But while, what was I saying? Oh, there's certain things that we could discuss, like out-of-body experiences. Trying to think of the other one that people talk about where they can leave their body and come back.
Oh, astral projection.
Thank you. I don't know why that slipped in my brain.
Basically the same thing.
But these are all things that deal with the mind. Is it a mind over matter situation that they can do astral projection?
Yeah, it's like with my luck, I would be like Insidious and end up in La La Land somewhere and not be able to get back.
Yeah. Is that EW? EW is not here right now. Leave a message after the tone. Ah! Oh. Yeah. Is there, these are things that I would lean towards the mind over matter, or more of delving into the psyche of an individual. And I say that because, psychologists have still got a lot of things to unlock in the brain. We know about doctors who actually specialize in brain surgery, but even they have come across situations that they can't explain how in the world they happen.
There was this episode of 911. I love that TV show. And I think it was the last episode of the first season. The woman had a stroke and she was speaking in a British accent.
Yes,
and
I remember that episode.
And the guy said that some people have a brain injury or in a coma and wake up speaking Mandarin. I've heard of things like that too.
But how? When they've never spoke that in their life.
Right, or learned, become play the piano or stuff like that. It's the great unknown.
Yeah. And here, this makes perfect sense. This is probably the words I was trying to look for. The paranormal has to do with mind, body, and spirit and the balance between them.
That is perfect.
Yeah. And when we first started doing paranormal back in 2008, one of the things we talked about was skeptic versus believer. And when we did that, we talked about how most paranormal teams have to be right on the fence, the balance. You can't lean towards one or the other because then you create a bias towards that. And you don't want that biased opinion because then it messes with the evidence. She moved. Everybody take a drink.
No, I'm just trying to read what Sarah wrote. I have no idea what she's saying.
Akashic record?
What is that?
I'm going to look it up.
Okay. AKA.
Oh, yeah, I'm reading it right now. In the religion of Theosophy, and the philosophical school called anthroposophy. The Akashic records are a compendium of all universal events, thoughts, words, emotions, and intent ever to have occurred in the past, present, or future in terms of all entities and life form, not just human.
Huh.
It's an interesting subject. Now, mind you, this is also delving right back into the psychological world. And I mean, you're talking about dealing into a mind area. Okay. So when I studied psychology, I hated, and I'm going to say this, and I know I'm going to get beat up by some people for saying this, verbally, not physically. But I hated topics by Freud or some of the other psychologists. Freud, who believed everybody had some kind of sexual fantasy about their mother. Ew.
I seriously doubt that.
Thank you. What I concluded, which never got me in trouble, by the way, what I always concluded is if these guys came up with those ideas, it was for that time. Okay?
Or they had the thoughts and they just wanted to make it like normal.
Exactly. If we look at things today, it's not like that. And some psychologists today might come up with a new groundbreaking answer that would say, this is how it is. And it might become the new way of looking at psychology for a while. I'm just saying. And I'm reading her comment. The last comment she made here is... Right. I could answer that one. The mind and body are constantly being bombarded and filtering energy. Yeah, look. Remember one time they said that talking on the phone sends all those waves into your brain and can give you cancer. What did they do to fix that?
Probably nothing.
Really? I don't think they did. What they did was you now have Bluetooth earpieces. So now you're not putting the phone to your ear. That's the only difference. So I don't think it would be anything.
Who wrote that? Was it Samuel L. Jackson and John Cusack in that movie, The Cell, where at the airport everybody was on the phone, blah 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 blah, and then they went hysterical and started killing people and
I know which movie you're talking about. Yeah. That one was because of some crowd.
It's just like a thing that's you're so hooked on it, and it's just going to end up driving you crazy. Have you ever lost your cell phone and gone nuts? No, well, of course I haven't. I don't really give a damn, but I mean, a lot of people, oh my God, my cell phone. And everything in the entire universe of their personal life is on that damn phone. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
What if you drop it in the toilet or something?
It stays in the toilet.
Yeah, total recall's on. But I don't know. Well, we could do the whole thing on technology and how people are little techno slaves.
See, because we've talked about big pharma. But knowing what we know about mind over matter, I would almost say we'd have to keep going into this show, because one thing I would love to do is bring in Renee and talk about astral projection and see if the answer in that is a mind over matter situation. Because I honestly think it would have to be. And then if it is, would it be that they're physically doing it, or are they mentally believing they're doing it, and so they feel that?
I don't know, but how can you explain with her with the EVP thing?
Okay, now that's a whole nother story, and I don't know. I can't. That's something I can't get into yet, and we need her for that.
We need her back.
Yeah, we definitely need her back for that. So she was going to be our guest tonight, and as I said, she was on the road, and I preferred that she drive carefully because I would really feel bad.
Yeah, we love Renee.
Yeah,
she's my favorite person.
I need to double check before I confirm what's coming up. If it's yeah, I think next week. Don't quote me on this yet, but I think next week we won't do paranormal the way we would be. We'll be on the radio, and we'll be doing something like our old time overtime show. There's a reason why. There's something big and special about that.
Do you know how to plug my computer in the wall? Or are we going to be physically on like we are now? Or can I stay in my pajamas?
You'll probably get, I don't know. I'm going to double check everything. I'll tell you off the air here in a moment. But you guys really are going to want to tune in for this, because this is going, when I got definite confirmation, this is going to be a big time special.
Yay!
Yeah. And I do mean big time. We're talking 3 shows worth of big time.
Well, yeah, you got to fill me in on this one.
Yeah. So on that note, ladies and gentlemen, I will we will see you guys soon. Check us out on our Facebook page, which is in the link down below. And we'll try to keep you updated on what's going to happen and where you can check us out as we progress with what's about to happen. So on that note, Miss Annie, thank you.
Bye.
Good night, everyone.